It's all about me. It's all about me. I've got a lot of stories to tell, and they're all about me. I am the guy next to you on the plane, with the big mouth and the pea-sized brain, talking with glee, incessantly, all about me. You're trying to read, but you won't succeed. By the end of this flight, you'll be able to write a whole book about me. I just bought a brand new Lamborghini to compensate for my small self-esteem. Oh yeah, me, all about me. My friends' telephones are broken, that's all, or improperly installed. That's why they don't return my calls. I've got a girl now who's perfect for me, because she doesn't have caller ID. We talk about me, all about me, and the first minute is free. You wanna change lanes? I don't even see. Got my phone on my ear, adjusting my mirror so I can see me. It is so strange with an ego this vast that my head will still fit up my hat. Why can't you see? It's just astronomy. The world revolves around me.
Welcome to the Friends of Dan Music Podcast. I'm Dan Miles. You've been listening to the music/comedy of Sean Morey, who's joining us now on the phone from Marina Del Rey, California. Hi, Sean.
I would call it comedy/rotten music.
Well, we're going to be listening to 4 or 5 cuts, so, you know, the rotten...
How are you, Denny? Thanks for having me on your pod.
Hey, it's a pleasure to have you here, and, you know, that song, It's All About Me, you'll be happy to know that this show actually is all about you.
That's the kind of show I like.
Now, when you wrote that song, was it inspired by a specific narcissist you met, or just narcissists in general?
Well, let me see if I can remember back. Probably was inspired by living in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
A friend of mine is Marlon Brando's nephew. How's that for dropping a big name right out of the gate?
Marlon Brando is a big name for a big man, too.
And this friend of mine, he told me about the song that Marlon Brando would sing to him. He said it was an LA conversation. Me, 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 you.
That's pretty good. Yeah, our first guest actually wrote a song about Los Angeles, and she felt she needed to kind of defend it, because when she told people she lived there, they had some negative opinions about it, and she was talking more about things like...
A lot of good things also.
And that's exactly was her point. I know you started out actually on the opposite coast in Boston as a street performer doing some magic and some juggling. What do you think it was about your childhood that left you so starved for attention?
I needed love. Actually, my mother is a bit of a narcissist, but now I wish I hadn't said that. She might hear this. But let's just say she's a ham.
Okay.
And she was probably a frustrated actress. She was an actress in college, and she used to take us to see Broadway shows all the time. And I knew that whenever I would do, like, you know, show-busy type of things, I would get her attention and approval. I used to be a big fan of Alan Sherman when I was a kid. Remember him?
Oh, I do, yeah, the Camp Granada.
Hello, Mara.
Yeah.
Hello, Pada. And I just love to laugh and love the idea of getting laughs.
So you just, like...
I'm a little more healthier, but I have a great job, so I just do it because I love it.
Well, I know in addition to the comedy music, you've also done a lot of the traditional stand-up, just you and a microphone. How did those two aspects of your act evolve? When did the music take over, and when did you quit doing the juggling and the magic?
Oh, the juggling and magic was all comedy stuff. You know, when a lot of people, when they start out, don't really have an act. But I did political juggling for years, political jokes with the juggling. The magic only lasted about a year. It was just comedy magic. I started working on stand-up, and I used to always have a song or two in my show, but very little music. And I was mostly a straight stand-up most of my career. And then I used to go on the Bob and Tom show in Indianapolis every time I would work at the Comedy Connection in Indianapolis, and got to be good friends with them. And I wrote a parody along with my good friend Marty Azanoff of Ghost Riders in the Sky. It was called Ghost Chickens in the Sky. And they put it on one of their charity albums that they would put out every Christmas, and it became a big hit in Indianapolis. And that was fun. I would go there, and people would come see me. I started to get a following. So I just started writing more songs for their show, and when I wrote the Man song, it was a huge hit, and that's when I started writing songs a lot, because I loved doing it. And so I said, well, this is going to make me money. Okay, then.
Sure. I've got your CDs, and I've heard your stand-up and the music, and maybe it was presumptuous of me to assume that the music had taken over, but...
Half and half now.
Yeah. So there was never a time when you wanted to be a serious songwriter. Right out the gate, you were writing comedy songs.
Yeah, I can't sing or play. My albums that have good music on them are all really cool studio musicians who live in L.A. Oh, the first album was a Bob and Tom band, and then after that I would just go into the studio in L.A. or bring bands into clubs with me.
Do you set specific time aside to write, or do you just do it when you're feeling inspired?
Well, I love to write, and I should do it every day. I have to balance it with being my own agent, which I hate doing. It's very time-consuming, and lots of other fun things that I do, like being a daddy. Just all this housework. I'm a single dad, so I got all that work to do. I don't write enough, but I love it, and even when I feel blocked, I'm always able to get a good session going, because I have so many tricks now after all these years.
Well, is it true that you won a comedy songwriting competition that was judged by Cheech Marin, David Cross, and Weird Al Yankovic?
Yeah, I won the comedy category of the International Songwriting Contest a couple of years ago. That
doesn't sound like something that a rotten songwriter would do.
Oh, I'm a good songwriter. I like my songs, some of them. I'm a bad singer and a bad musician.
Well, this seems like a good spot to listen to another one of Sean's songs. I'm not going to say the title of the song because I don't want to give away the punchline. We'll just listen and then we'll talk about it afterwards. Here we go.
Come gather round, my friends, and I'll tell you about a man who is adored by every woman in the land. He rides a big white horse. He's gorgeous, of course. He never watches sports, and he has never been divorced. He's the man, he's the man, he's the man who doesn't exist. After sex, he likes to cuddle and then talk about your mom. And he loves to rock out to Celine Dion. Muscular and thin, he only has one chin. He thinks that Cindy Crawford is way too thin. He takes out the trash even before you ask. He never holds your head under the covers when he releases gas. He's the man, he's the man, he's the man who doesn't exist. He loves to paint your toenails and then give you a back rub. And when you can't button your pants, he says they must have shrunk. He nourishes your soul, he knows how to fold, and all his favorite underwear is less than 10 years old. He doesn't criticize or tell you how to drive. He knows that after sex you shouldn't give a high five. He's the man, he's the man, he's the man who doesn't exist.
Well, I specifically picked that song because I wanted to illustrate a technique that I think you employ very effectively, which is the concept of the answer song. You wrote a song called I Think It's Gonna Be a Bad Day, then you answered it with I Think It's Gonna Be a Great Day. And more famously, you wrote the Man song and answered it with the Woman song. So Right now, let's listen to your answer to The Man Who Doesn't Exist.
Come listen while I play a song about a babe who's always ready to dress up like a French maid. She loves the Super Bowl, but not the remote control. For her anniversary, she wants a fishing pole. She's the woman, she's the woman, she's the woman you're never gonna meet. She thinks your snoring is soothing. She loves that drool on your chin. And when she catches you with her best friend, she joins right in. She's never on your case. She gives you closet space. And when she takes her makeup off, you recognize her face. She says you're number one. She calls you honey bun. She loves to hear stories about other girls you've known. She's the woman. She's the woman. She's the woman who's never gonna show. She loves to make you a sandwich. She brings you a Budweiser. And every 28 days, she gets even nicer. She fills you with desire. She sings in the choir. She calls your beer belly your power tire. She loves to make you dinner. She thinks that you're a winner. And when you're feeling down, she says, pull my finger. She's the woman. She's the woman. She's the woman who doesn't exist.
Well, on the surface, that might seem like a clever way of milking one idea into two ideas, but
Exactly right.
but I think it's actually an interesting exercise in point of view, and it gives a nice balance to your set, because if one group starts to feel picked on, you can just turn the tables and express the opposite point of view equally effectively. Do you remember the first answer song you wrote?
I think that was the woman's song, and I started to do that more regularly because for radio airplay, you know, because my songs a lot of them are written for morning radio shows, and you know, it gets the people involved, you know, when they have two songs that they can talk about both sides of an issue.
When you write a song, how do you determine which verse to use a particular joke in? Do you just instinctively know, well, this is a first, second, or third verse type joke, or do you shuffle them around until you find a perfect combination that you're happy with?
That's a good question. A lot of times I just sort of shuffle around while I'm writing and see what feels right. And, you know, it's always good to start out strong and end strong. But then again, the audience often helps me figure it out, you know. I'll just keep trying different versions and different orders and different jokes until the song just works. And I have a lot of songs that I'm not satisfied with. They're just not, they have a couple or more lines in them that don't get a consistent laugh, and I just hate that. So that's why some of my songs that are maybe many years old suddenly I'll just start working on them again. And in fact, the other night, did a show in Portland, Oregon, and one of my favorite songs is Dear Santa, which is the one that won that contest.
Okay.
And even though it's pretty strong on, you know, the recordings, the second line of it would be inconsistent, and I just fixed it the other night.
Good. Congratulations.
I hope. That one audience really liked it, so we'll see.
Well, I've heard Dear Santa, and whenever Christmas rolls around and I get out my own personal little playlist, that one and your White Trash Christmas and all that stuff's there for me.
I forgot about that one.
It's funny, you mentioned, my next question was if you ever adjusted your lyrics based on audience reactions, and it sounds like you definitely do.
Well, you know, the audience knows best, and there's certain jokes that work with a real great, smart audience, and there's certain jokes that work with every audience. Those are the stronger ones.
And I imagine if you do a song 10 times for 10 audiences, you'll notice if, like you say, the consistent laugh and the sketchier stuff.
True. And sometimes, though, there's just a little tweak in the way you deliver it that can make a huge difference.
Yeah, I heard that when Rodney Dangerfield was on The Simpsons, they gave him some jokes, and he did exactly that. He said, you got to change this word, you got to put this backwards, because that's a guy who's delivered a lot of jokes in his day, rest his soul.
Yeah, really.
Have you ever expected a joke to go over really big and then had it sort of flop, or have you ever had low expectations for a joke and you thought, oh, nobody's going to laugh at this, and it got a huge laugh, and you just never know?
Yeah, both of those a lot, and also sometimes I'll make a joke accidentally. So I like to improvise on stage sometimes, just when I'm doing stand-up, and I've had several times where people start laughing at something I said, and then I get it after that, and then I'll pretend that I thought it on purpose.
Yeah, well, just remember those, and then you can add it to the show.
Unless I never get it.
Well, as long as they're laughing and you get paid.
Right.
Well, when I've given speeches myself, some of my biggest laughs have come from comments that I ad-libbed. So do you find spontaneous remarks can get the biggest reaction? Because people can tell that it's tailor-made for that particular audience, because it isn't, a cookie-cutter joke.
It's exciting when someone's ad-libbing and it's real obvious, and everybody realizes that, that's happening right now, and it's off the top of the head, and it's kind of more fun. Plus, when you're messing with a crowd, I always give newcomers the advice that that's a good thing to do if you're struggling. Don't just keep struggling and act like nothing, that you're not bombing when you are.
Uh-huh.
Stop the show right there and just comment on it or mess with the crowd. You can't just dig a hole. Well, when you're messing with the crowd, people get really alert because they're like, oh my God, that could be me.
Right.
And they're very connected with you because you break the wall, between the audience and the performer.
Well, on your CD and also in some like YouTube clips I've seen, I know you're really good at picking on audience members. And do you think
I'm hot and cold.
Do you think it helps discourage heckling?
Sometimes it encourages heckling. Heckling's rare. What's more common than heckling is just in nightclubs, people who have drank too much and are just talking too much.
Uh-huh.
Either among themselves or to me, but not in a heckling fashion. They're just like pitching in, and they're making comments, and they think they're helping the show, and really they're destroying it. Although sometimes they're helping it because they make a good target.
How long do you usually use a joke before you retire it?
That's the problem. Sometimes I use them forever if I really like them. But, I should change my material more often, but my material changes sort of gradually. I'm always working on new stuff, and there's a lot of stuff in my act that's been there a long time. Then there's a lot of stuff that's been retired, too, that's just I don't think is good enough anymore.
Well, don't you think that with stand-up, people expect you to move on, but with songs...
That's a great thing about songs, yeah. You hear them more than once.
Do you ever feel self-conscious about delivering a joke that some people in the room have already heard?
Yeah, sometimes I worry about that if I've been to a town several times. But that's why I try to always have a bunch of new stuff when I'm going to a town I've been to many times. And also, I try to do more improv with the crowd in a place like that. And it always works out pretty well. And
no matter how many times you've been there, there's always going to be new people in the audience that haven't heard any of it.
Yeah, sometimes I go to those towns I've been to 10 times, and I'll say, how many people saw me before? And it's a small percentage. There's lots of people out there.
Yeah, there are. Most of the recordings on your CDs are live, and they have genuine audience laughter and applause. How do you feel about laugh tracks? Like when you watch TV and there's a laugh track, because they drive me crazy.
I hate them.
Yeah, me too.
I hate them. To be honest, I have sweetened a few of my songs.
Well, we don't have to admit that, man.
I'll do it.
Because I think that the laugh tracks are really do a disservice, because if something's genuinely funny, you don't need the machine to tell you it's time to laugh. And then if it isn't funny, all the fake laughter, I think, just makes it even less funny.
It's distracting. Yeah, sometimes even audience is very great, but even when you have a very introverted or stiff audience, you can see them smiling. When you see like a comedy special on TV and they cut to the audience laughing because they want to edit to another part of the show, and the laugh does not match the joke.
Yeah.
Just tell us, I hate that. When you're doing a show, the best seat in the house is on stage. I just love looking at the face. I hate it when I can't see the audience. I love looking at the faces of the people, and especially like if they start elbowing each other, if I'm doing relationship humor, It's very entertaining.
Well, it's time to play some more music, and I have to say I'm really relishing playing this next tune. I've noticed a lot of my Facebook friends are on there constantly during office hours, then they seem to disappear on the evenings and weekends. So this one is dedicated to all of you slackers out there. You know who you are. Let's just hope your bosses don't know who you are.
Gotta freshen up my coffee, gotta practice my yo-yo. From 9 to 10, it's all penciled in, I'm staring out the window. Hey, eating a jelly donut, that's just one of my perks. Everybody's doing it, dicking around at work. I'd love to finish up that project, I'd love to finish that report. But first I gotta finish this yogurt and then download some porn. Gotta check out that new chick, I heard she's a flirt. Maybe she'd be up for dicking around at work. Carry around some folders, shuffle around some papers. I just spent 2 hours adjusting my screensaver. Gotta put you on hold, sir, your call's important to me. It will be ignored in the order it was received. Oh, I'm a model employee, I always clean the glass when I finish making photocopies of my ass. I brown nose the bosses, yes sir, yes ma'am. I'm not apathetic, I just don't give a damn, 'cause I'm dicking